In a week that had so much fun, so much goals, so much happiness and joy for sports lovers, and unfortunately a bit of sad news here and there for some persons and a particular football club in England. We welcome you to a very beautiful edition of HotSports. This is the longest running sports show on Nigerian television. My name is Babajide Guerrero, and last week it was a tremendous conversation that we had, and going forward this particular show will be no different. I've got African sauce today on the show, and it's quite interesting, but the gentleman decided to go, let's do the African thing, leaving me alone in the dark, but it's no problem. Atunde Lawa, you're still my friend. How are you today?
It's wonderful looking ahead to the sporting events that will take place both today and tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, did you and today meet somewhere and say, you know what, guys, let's do an African theme show, leaving Guerrero out, let him look at the odd one, like the bad child, like the prodigal son, or it's just what now? It's just coincidental?
Good morning to you, Babajide.
Good morning, Le.
Great to be on the show. Well, some things are coincidental.
Yeah.
I guess that's why me and Tunde are actually on the same attire. So hopefully we get to see how the show will actually go.
Oh, well, today we'll be having our conversations as usual. You know the show. First we have debates between the two guys in the studio, and then we go for discussions. And this particular segment of the program is brought to you by MTN, everywhere you go. When we return from this first break on the show, we'll talk about just what is on our burner. HotSports will be back right after this, and I'm sure you don't want to miss it. Sit tight. We'll be right back.
Super Eagles stars Wilfred Ndidi, Kelechi Iheanacho and Ahmed Musa have joined in mourning of Leicester City owner Richard Srivadhanaprabha, who died during the weekend in a helicopter crash outside the Leicester Stadium. The Leicester City owner watched as Ndidi's last gasp goal earned his team a 1-1 draw at home on Saturday before he met his untimely death. From Vicarage Road, Isaac Success has promised to give his best for Watford after he scored his first goal in the Premier League this season. Success, who was called up by Super Eagles coach Kenneth Rowe in the last two nations qualifying games against Libya, scored his team's third goal in a 3-0 win over Huddersfield. Alex Iwobi on Sunday continued a spectacular run as his English Premier League side Arsenal played a 2-2 draw against Crystal Palace. The Nigerian international was in action for 90 minutes and was instrumental to Arsenal's attacking build-up in the Selhurst Park game. Super Eagles goalkeeper Francis Uzoho kept a clean sheet as Elche defeated Real Zaragoza 2-0 at Estadio Manuel Martinez Velaro on Saturday evening in the Spanish Segunda Division. It was his second consecutive clean sheet for Uzoho. In China, Odion Igalo returned to action for Changchun Yatai on Saturday after sitting out last weekend's match against Benjungwan due to a suspension. Igalo was on target in the 88th minute of Changchun Yatai 2-1 loss to Changwon Lifan, setting a new personal high single-season scoring record of 21 goals in the Chinese Super League. Also in China, Super Eagles keeper John Obi Mikel netted his first goal in 6 months as Tianjin Teda were beaten 4-2 by Shanghai Shenhua on a Week 27 game in the Chinese Super League on Sunday. Mikel had not scored in a competitive game since finding the net against Gansu RF on April 14. And finally, in Italy, Chelsea loanee Ola Aina was not credited with what would have been his maiden goal in the Italian Serie A in Torino's 1-1 draw with Fiorentina at Stadio Olimpico at the weekend.
If you know fit go internet or follow for Twitter, you know fit snap photo send or get it photo send. Now because you dey use Palasa, your phone no dey answer. See me see wahala. My brother, go get smartphone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no go for your hand, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no fit take selfie. Drop that Palasa phone. No be correct phone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone.
My people, no let Palasa phone fall your hand this year. Kia go buy 3G or 4G smartphone, or bring that your phone come join MTN, and then go summer you with 100% awoof data bam on top every data bundle way you buy for the next 3 months. So drop that Palasa now, change your levels so that you go fit enjoy fast internet on the network we get data for everywhere for we country Nigeria. This offer day open to new and old MTN customers.
and you're welcome back to the show. This is HotSports, and we're talking about the vacant position of the head coach for Real Madrid. And during the course of the week, the Barcelona loss was the final stroke that broke the camel's back for Julen Lopetegui. Oh well, out of 30 possible points, he was able to amass 14, and they lost ridiculously to some teams and of course to some games that they could have actually won on their day. So the big question is, who will fill this particular huge gap? It's a trigger-happy manager, I beg your pardon, that Real Madrid has. Fiorentina Perez sacked so many managers over the years, he doesn't really care if you're not getting the best results. And Arsene Wenger has been discussed in this particular level of conversation. So also as Mauricio Pochettino and Santiago Solari as well. A couple of names here and there, Martinez, and in fact, former Juventus manager and Chelsea manager Antonio Conte is also in the runnings, and that's the two guys we'll be looking at this beautiful morning. Leye and Tunde will be taking sides, whether or not it should be Antonio Conte or Arsene Wenger. I'll start with you, Tunde Lawal. Your take, Arsene Wenger or Antonio Conte for Real Madrid's job?
Well, I think Arsene Wenger will best fit the job. His style of football, his enterprising style, and I think he had a shot at the job at a point in time when he was still at Arsenal. But I think it's because of his love for Arsenal as at then. But he's been very good at the helm of Arsenal. So I think it will be a very good one if he takes over the job.
All right, so that's Tunde's thesis statement. And let's hear Leye now. Leye.
I think for Real Madrid at this time, they need a coach that's got experience. Talking about Conte, he's won the Scudetto 4 times in the bounce, came to England, won the Barclays Premier League as well as the FA Cup. At a time where there is the depreciation there at Real Madrid, you need a coach with that winning mentality, a coach that will instill that faith in those players. And I think I beg your pardon, for Antonio Conte, he's got that in his guard to actually do the bid for Real Madrid.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Leye says it's Antonio Conte, while Tunde Lawal thinks it's Arsene Wenger. So what do you think? The number is on your screen. Please do well to text us and let us know what exactly your thoughts are on this particular issue. Should it be Antonio Conte or should it be Arsene Wenger? That you can do well to follow us on social media right on our platform on your screen. When we return, the argument will start proper. And you're welcome back to the show. If you're just joining us, today we're asking, should it be Antonio Conte or should it be Arsene Wenger to take the job for Real Madrid? And Tunde mentioned that he thinks that Arsene Wenger got everything it takes, to be the manager for Real Madrid. And while Olaleye says that, no, I think Antonio Conte has got the winning formula and winning mentality to take charge in this particularly troubled Real Madrid team without Cristiano Ronaldo, of course. Tunde, you want to start?
Yeah, I think to start with, for Arsene Wenger, he spent 22 years at Arsenal, and he was able to revamp the club under so many players, under different owners. He was also able to change the whole atmosphere of the club. It was when Wenger came, a whole lot of things came on board, nutrition, the style of play, and he brought a lot of French connection also to the club. So I think it will be a very good one for him if he can have his opportunity.
I think I'm better to disagree right now. I think for Real Madrid right now, they are actually undergoing a form of depreciation in form. They need a coach that's got so much to offer. Talking about Antonio Conte, the last 6 years of his career, he's won a title for every club he's gone. For a team at Real Madrid at this point in time, who at this point they won everything, but they need a coach who can bring up the psyche of the players and let them know that irrespective.
And you think Antonio Conte is that coach?
Antonio Conte is one man.
I don't think he's that coach.
Why
Because,
so?
well, if you look at his last job, you understand, what got him sacked? He was unable to manage some of the egos in the club. A club like Real Madrid, you have a lot of egos. He had an issue with David Luiz also.
These are players that want it all. What they need is a coach they can look into their eyes, and for respect, and of course give their results. And for Julen Lopetegui, he didn't do well because they couldn't handle the dressing room for those players to play for him. Sure, you've got players that's got so much in terms of attitude, in terms of how they are going to play, but right now he's gone.
And then you feel, let me just cut you in there.
The job because he's charismatic, he's aggressive, and he needs this. Just in a mood like Gattuso, you can't just have players that are collecting so much, they want so much, and expect them to crumble just like that.
Okay, so the question now is, you feel all these criteria for Conte, you can't find them in Arsene Wenger.
Not at all. We all know Wenger's approach towards life. A man who stood for almost 22 years at Arsenal. He didn't win up to 20 medals. This is a man who is not mostly known for nurturing players.
So do you feel
Real Madrid, he wouldn't have to nurture players. He needs to get results.
It's not just
Lopetegui didn't get results. That's why it's been sacked after a certain incident had won Champions League, but didn't do well on the up front. Can you imagine in the El-Clasico for the first time since 2007 when there were no Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi, they were disgraced there at the new camp. Look, imagine even wouldn't be happy with himself.
So now,
my point is, see, now Real Madrid are in a rebuilding process.
For how long will they rebuild?
Hold on.
There's no rebuilding anywhere.
There is.
There's never a rebuilding process.
Hold on. Right now, what Real Madrid needs is not an aggressive coach.
Okay.
What they need is someone
that
who can bring the stability.
Okay.
Someone who can steady the ship.
Okay.
And we all know Arsene Wenger is someone who can do that. Because and now you mentioned man management. Who has it better than Arsene Wenger? He was able to manage Thierry Henry. He was able to manage Robert Pires.
How many trophies did he eventually
Hold on. See, it's not all about trophies.
Why would it be all about trophies?
It's not all about trophies.
From 2002 to 2014, spent over £1 billion to form the Galacticos to win the Champions League, which he never did. And they won it back to back under a certain president. So right now,
what do you think is the priority of Real Madrid now? Is it trophies?
At this point, they need to maintain the momentum. And the momentum means bringing a coach that has got the idea, that has got what it takes to bring out the best out of the players.
Let's last thoughts. What is your thoughts on it?
Now, see.
This is your last and final thought.
All right. Taking Real Madrid to the next level or maintaining momentum, I don't think that is Real Madrid's concentration now. What Real Madrid needs is someone who can steady the ship, someone who has got the experience over the years, someone who can manage the likes of Sergio Ramos, the likes of Gareth Bale, who is having a lot of trouble. Because I don't think Antonio Conte is the man. Arsene Wenger can go in there, steady the ship, and see how Real Madrid can move forward.
Okay, so you just never know really. This is going to be going back and forth. We just have to stop the guys right there because the truth is, when it comes to managing players of great egos like this, a lot of things are actually going to be put into context. Of course, this is not my final whistle time. My final whistle is at the end of the show about what a discussion we've had this morning. So what is your thoughts exactly? What do you think about what this gentleman has laid down here to the bear? Because Tunde is saying that Arsene Wenger is the man and he should be the man to steady the ship. Meanwhile, Leia says, why steady any ship when there's a winning mentality and the culture of this Real Madrid team is about to go down? You need a manager that can just up the ante and continue from where the previous successful regime or tenure of other managers stopped. So, hey, that's the thoughts right there. We want to hear your thoughts on the show as well as on our YouTube channel. That's at HotSports NG. Please do well to go leave your comments in the comment section. We'll go for a quick break, and when we return, the discussion continues here on HotSports. It will be right back.
Super Awoof. MTN gives 2,000% bonus for reactivating your MTN SIM. That's right. If you haven't used your MTN SIM for 45 days or more, recharge now and get 2,000% bonus. That's right, 2,000% bonus for your first recharge of every month.
Just like the clock ticks to the final hour, it was a pensive moment for Chelsea loanee Ola Aina as he was dropped at the last minute in London as the Super Eagles prepared for their final journey to the Russia 2018 World Cup. The Torino of Italy player, who was not credited with what should have been his first goal in the Italian Serie A last weekend, reflects on the emotions he passed through after he was dropped by coach Gennett Rohr from the Super Eagles squad to Russia.
It was very hard for me because I felt like I did all I can with opportunities and chances that I got leading up to the World Cup. You know, it was hard for me and my family because, like I said, yeah, everyone thought I did the best that I could, but you know, it's a decision that the coach made not to take me. Yeah, it was hard. It was very hard, but I'm the sort of person, you know, I don't like to dwell on things too long because if I do, you know, it may affect my morale. So I got over the disappointment very quick. You know, I enjoyed watching Nigeria. Even though I wasn't there, I enjoyed watching Nigeria play. You know, I was hoping for the very best for all the guys out there, and even though it didn't go to plan, I think the guys did very well. They did very well to achieve what they did achieve, as you saw in the games. You know, Iceland, even against Argentina, I think that was a game that we should have won. But you know, it's just those fine margins that define the game. So, but the boys did very well, and I'm over the whole World Cup disappointment now.
You're welcome back to the show. We are at the port of conversations. Now we're done with the argument. Where were you? What did you miss? I mean, why did you miss that kind of argument? Do well to remain here for the final whistle to tell you how exactly it went down during that particular segment, whether or not should Real Madrid go for Antonio Conte or Arsene Wenger. All right, the Super Eagles of Nigeria will clash against the Bafana of South Africa, the boys, there in November 17, and Gennett Rohr, the coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, has brought out at least a little bit steady as we've known it in recent times, but that's it on your screen. Guys, goalkeepers still have to be Francis Uzor. But let's just look at this team and generally. Do you think is there a missing person, apart from John Mikel Obi, who has not been there? Yeah. Now, we're hearing about Onazi being not too happy about not being called up. Blair, what are your thoughts about this particular group? It's still almost like same of the same, nothing really special.
Well, I think just keeping with the players is felt for the future. But of course, talking about the future, we need a bit of experience. The issue as regards Onazi, for me, thus far has been a big surprise. But there's been some few inclusions, talking about a certain Adeleye who plays for FC Feyenoord. Of course, one of the revelations in Europe this year, talking about Samuel Chukwueze, plays with Villarreal in Spain. He was part of the victorious under-17 team in 2015. So I think looking at going forward, you feel that for Gennett Rohr is trying to make sure he does the inclusion of the players that have been prosecuting games for him.
Did I hear you call him Gennett Rohr now?
No.
Oh, Gennett Rohr. Okay.
I'm not really, but I think it's a good squad. But the question mark is John Obi Mikel still actually in a way trying to be picky of games. And then again, the issue with Onazi, because we could remember aftermath of the game last weekend in Turkey, he got an interview saying that some people do not expect him. They didn't allow him to play at the World Cup. This talks about so much that has happened thus far from the World Cup. Mikel and Onazi had issues. And then again, aftermath of the World Cup, the last game in Akwa Ibom talks about, Onazi having injuries. Yet, he actually played last time out for his club side. So a lot of things going on, but hopefully with time, I think Gennett Rohr is trying to have that, trying to squash so much going national team. Hopefully with time, Super Eagles should get the needful against South Africa.
Yeah, one or two replacements, like you mentioned earlier, Samuel Chukwueze and the likes of the standby where we see Enrio Yekuru and Sunday Adetunji, but Junior Lokosa, you have a feeling that maybe this bodes well for him going forward. He's been on the fringes for the team lately, Tunde. Yeah,
it's a very nice one for him. There's been a lot of clamors from different quarters that he should also be making the team.
Absolutely.
And since most times Gennett Rohr only gets to use about 15, 16 players and the rest are just there to probably make up the list. One notable mention for me, I think, is Stephen Ode. He's been doing very well for his club in Switzerland, and I think if some players like Samuel Chukwueze are also getting call up, Ode, who is scoring for his club, even in the Europa League, I think deserves a call up. I just hope that after the South African game, once we get a good result to take us through, then maybe the Seychelles game, so he can bring in some of these players to actually prosecute the game.
And then to rest the old legs in terms of players that have been playing the tournament from the beginning, the qualifiers that is. But in preparation for the forthcoming Women's African Cup of Nations, in the 11th Women African Cup of Nations in Ghana, the camp, of course, in Epe, in Lagos State. I've seen the Super Falcons coach and the players in great mood. Nigeria are drawn in the same group with South Africa, Kenya and Zambia, all actions for Group B. Doctors in Tokyo are currently showing their little bit of agitation as regards the level of heat in Tokyo. The 2020 Olympic Marathon would be staged in Tokyo, and a lot of doctors are coming out to say that it could be a very huge death race because of the heat stroke that is currently happening in Tokyo. In fact, they said that the organizers should try to begin the Olympic marathon by 5:30, and although the organizers are saying, you know what, we want to start like 30 minutes to 7, but this particular doctors are saying if you really do care about the health of your athletes, you will stick to what we're saying. And right now it's a lot of back and forth because the Japanese Medical Association is showing a lot of worries that this could be a death race and not an Olympic race. And now the interesting thing is that we're looking forward to whether or not will the Olympic Association listen to the voices of the doctors, or they will rather just go ahead. I'm very sure that just like we saw in game of football at the Brazil when we had the Zika virus breaking up, we saw a lot of, I beg your pardon, the Olympic in Brazil where we had the Zika virus breaking up, a lot of athletes were pulling out and saying, you know what, we have no business with this. But this year is a case layer of health versus sports.
This looks sounds scary, but of course the athletes must put into consideration their health as well. So we get to see all of the precautions that be put into place to make sure that all of these, scheduled, races eventually go as planned. So like you said, you can't actually cheat nature, and the way things are going, you expect that everything will work out well for good.
Stand up for the champion. That right there, I'm sure will be the song in the head of Lewis Hamilton, the champ this year. It's been absolutely fantastic on the F1 season. Today we saw that he's won his 5th F1 title. Now he's just 2 away from the greatest, Michael Schumacher.
Definitely, because he won the championship last year also, and he's carried on from that. Even when it seems that things were not going his way, but he's been able to steady the ship. Even though Ferrari had the fastest car, like you mentioned, but he's been able to have a good rapport with his coaching crew, with his team. He's done well for himself, like you mentioned. 2 championships away from the great Michael Schumacher. I hope he can achieve it, and he's very young, so I think he can actually do well.
The next stop for F1 will be, that's Formula 1 of course, will be Brazilian Grand Prix, and this will be happening November the 11th, and it's at the Autodromo Jose Carlo, and we're looking forward to how that would pan out. And of course the season is over and done with, but we are not over or done with. We got one more thing to talk about, and that's the final whistle, and that one will be coming right after this last and final break on HotSports. You don't want to miss this. And welcome back to the show. This is where we wrap it up and say thank you so very much for joining us, but not until I give you what final whistle is in my head. All right, so what I think is, at the end of the day, it's Fiorentina Perez. I mean, this is the same man who hires and fires with ease. Whether or not you're happy, nobody's bigger than Real Madrid. Nobody gets too comfortable, and it depends on his criteria, his thoughts, maybe his mood, or maybe even the side of the bed he wakes up on could actually determine whether or not either Antonio Conte or Arsene Wenger. But where are you leaning to? What do you lean on? Tell us what exactly is your thoughts about Antonio Conte or Arsene Wenger. We'll be looking forward to hearing your thoughts. We want to thank you so very much, everyone, for joining us. It's been a tremendous, enjoyable show. It's sad how 30 minutes flies whenever you're having so much fun with the African team. Okay, so Leia, you guys felt cool with yourself, no problem, it's fine. You guys, you're moving from the setting. Leia, thank you very much for coming.
Always a pleasure to be on the show, the longest serving sports show on TV. Great to be here, and of course, to everyone out there, do enjoy your weekend.
Enjoy your weekend. Tunde Lawa, same?
Yeah, definitely, and enjoy the sporting activities all over.
All over. Yeah, for us, is for you to enjoy the very best of news and interviews and previews that we serve you live on www.hotsports.com. hotsporttv.com. Until I come your way again next week Saturday, my name is Babajide Guerrero, and remember, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye for now.